Hey everyone, this is Talking Nerdy with Thomas and Max. I'm Thomas Gaither.
I'm Max.
We're here to talk about all the crazy stuff that we hope we'd like to see get an adaptation or remakes.
There's a lot of things out there.
So much content.
And the trick is finding enough stuff that you're passionate about that you and a single other person who also has things can trim down into a nice, neat 30 minutes for all you people with ADHD.
Okay. That's our target audience?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
What person with a very minor attention span wouldn't want to tune in for 30 minutes to listen to two guys just ramble on?
What is your first adaptation or remake you're hoping for? Not even something happening this year, just something that you would like to see.
Something that I would like to see.
These are hopes. These are shots in the dark on a lot of them.
So I'm going to start off with something that I think is very possible.
Okay.
And we talked about it a little bit last episode when we were discussing what we were excited about coming out this year. Okay. So this year we're getting Dune Part 2, which, yes. I really want to see Dune Messiah. Now, Dune Messiah is the sequel, the direct follow-up to the first Dune book. Now, Denis Villeneuve, the director of these first couple Dune movies, has said that he would love to make a Dune Messiah. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's a little bit more of a political thriller. The plot kind of narrows down on Paul Atreides, who's the main character of the first book, and you're seeing the new terrain that he's having to navigate in a world where, well, not even a world, a universe where maybe not everything you hoped for or things that you'd expect came to fruition.
So book 1 and movies part 1 and 2 is very much House has fallen and then rise from the ashes.
Yes.
Become this political governor of this sort of planet, and Messiah is great. Now that you're kind of on top here, you got to deal with everything that you're just a part of now. Yes or no? Or am I close at all?
Yes. Okay. It's taking the hero's journey. So the first book is very much the typical hero's journey. Yep. And then the second book is, hey, you know how you thought everything was going to be great? No. Just no. But it's great. It really is. Okay. It's really good. And a lot of things happened that I did not think would happen.
Okay.
But I like it.
A lot of twists or surprises.
I wouldn't say twist. I'd say the narrative goes in a direction that is not typical of traditional sci-fi fantasy. That's
all that now. All that says to me after the last big trilogy debacle I went through, which was with Star Wars.
Wait, no.
That was a. I didn't expect any of this. Good God. Well, I think it's trash.
Well, I wouldn't say it's not trash because there was a vision. Unlike
they're smoking or whatever, the worm poop.
Yeah.
Turns them into human turns them into human calculators or whatever.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But there's not a whole lot I can say without giving plots away, and I mean, I definitely
don't spoil twists.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything. I think it's important that if you're interested in the Dune story, you watch Dune Part 2. Then maybe we talk about it later on.
It's almost odd to hear a director come out and be like, I would love to do the sequel, while he's still working on the first one, even though it's part 2 or whatever. He's like, I would love to do that. It's just why did they is it real close if how well the part 2 does?
I mean,
won't it?
The first one got Oscars, so
But all Hollywood cares about is money.
yeah,
All they care about is money.
that's true.
Okay.
But what about you? What's something you want to what do you want to see on the big screen or the small screen?
Okay. We now know about it. It's been a year, and now we know that Amazon has done this deal with Games Workshop. Henry Cavill's Warhammer show is on the way.
Oh, okay.
We
I
don't
didn't know
It's in Warhammer 40,000. Gothic, dark sci-fi. Could it be a thriller? Could it be a war show? We know it's a show. We don't know anything else about it, and the plot and content is so vast. Good luck. Good luck with whatever comes out of that. It'll be great.
So I like that Henry Cavill's attached to it. I didn't know he was attached to it because he's a big fan of the game.
Oh, yeah.
Because he actually
Yep.
buys the miniatures and paints them.
Yep. He's playing the Custodes, the Emperor of Mankind's immortal guardians.
And I think it's just important to just say thank you, Henry Cavill, for showing that even us nerds can sometimes be cool. Sometimes. Not
Sometimes.
always. Sometimes. He's cool.
Very, yes. He's Superman, dude.
Superman.
Yeah. What about you? What's another hope?
So,
Is this a book or a movie, this one?
I'm going to base, this is actually based off a book, and I got it here on the table, and maybe Hannah and Post can pop up like a picture of it or something. The Wager by David Gran. Killers of the Flower Moon
Yes.
is based, so that really happened, but that's based off a book that was also written by David Gran, and he also wrote The Lost City of Z.
Okay.
So The Wager is a true story, and I've been reading this, and it's freaking awesome. So like nonfiction typically can be really dry. This is not.
No. Okay.
So what happens in, I want to say it's 1740 or 1742. The Wager is one of 6 ships that set off from England.
To discover America.
Wait, no, 1740. No.
Okay.
That's long after. So
Okay.
1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
Okay.
I have my degree in history. I don't mean to flex.
No, please do. Okay.
I don't mean to be that
I already know that
guy.
Columbus wins. He sailed his boat like super fast. And
He's
ended
even
up
got a freaking holiday. God.
He thought he was in India twice.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, Columbus was a dumbass.
Oh my god.
He literally just. Moving on though. But so
Yeah.
the wager. So the plan is that these 6 ships will intercept a Spanish ship that will have a ton of silver that's coming from South America, because there are these great big silver mines in South America that the Spanish enslaved natives and others and had them mine.
But they got that silver.
But
That's
they
all
got
that
that
matters.
silver. Yeah,
Yep.
but fuck
And
the Native Americans.
England's
yeah.
like, that could be our silver.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they set off from England, across the Atlantic into South America, and they had to go around what's called Cape Horn, which is that little, like, the bottom of South America. So,
Yep. Where you start freezing, you're so close to the
yes.
southern
And so
Arctic.
the issues they run into, so everything goes to shit.
Of course.
So, one, there were all kinds of problems with the ship before they even set sail. A lot of the people, the sailors that were brought on, they were actually forced to go on. They went against their will.
Oh.
A lot of them had been retired, or they were just merchant sailors or fishermen, and the English government was just like, we need sailors, so get your ass on the boat. Oof. And so, I mean, they'd literally grab people off their ships or in the taverns, grabbed them and said,
Get back on the boat.
you're a part of the ship now.
Oof.
And so it's not off to a great start. As they're going down
Whoever
south,
started this wager thing clearly doesn't know, is not good at gambling.
no.
Sounds like me when I...
Yeah, and the ship is called the Wager. And I think it was like some kind of like former merchant vessel. They get hunted down.
So retrofitted. It's been retrofitted to go hunt this thing. Okay.
Yes. So it wasn't originally like a galleon or a proper warship. It was converted into one.
Yep.
But it gets the job done.
It floats.
It floats. It does what boats do. So they find out they're getting hunted by a Spanish fleet, which causes some issues. They have a scurvy outbreak, and hundreds of people die on these 6 ships. And they're all riddled with it. Yeah, eat your fruit. Eat your citrus.
Citrus.
Lemons.
Vitamin D.
And then also that little area by Cape Horn has super turbulent waters. And they made the mistake.
Well, it's where the 2 oceans meet. Yeah.
Yes. So super turbulent waters, and they go down there during the winter time of there. So it's even worse.
Let's sail into horrible waters at the worst time of the year while being hunted by an armada.
Yes.
We thought it was one boat. It's an armada.
So they're getting hit with storms like every day.
This guy's betting on the long shot. This isn't a wager. Should have been called the long shot.
It just everything that could go wrong does go wrong.
Oh.
The ship eventually sinks, and they get stranded on. Well, and so the wager ship gets separated from all the other ships because the weather's so bad. Then it wrecks, and then they're stranded on this island where no Europeans are.
They're with the dildo with the
dildos?
Dodos.
With the dildos. Yes, they were trapped on an island in South America, surrounded by the magnificent dildo bird. I
shouldn't have touched that champagne.
You shouldn't have touched the dildo.
Damn. Fucking hell.
Yeah, one sip of champagne is what did this.
This is water. This is water, I swear.
This ain't. And so there's a mutiny.
Oh my God.
Everything goes wrong.
Yep.
And it's freaking cool. And it would make a great series. I'd love to see it as a series. Your turn. I went on a while. But it's really cool. And you should pick up the wager. It won a bunch of awards. It's New York Times bestseller. It's cool.
A book I would really like to see an adaptation for, be it film or a show maybe. As a whole series, maybe 12 or more entries, like standalone books. It's called Ranger's Apprentice. I have no idea if you've heard that or not.
It sounds familiar.
I think I read it back in like middle school. You have a kingdom, knights and such, but there are rangers. Think what from Lord of the Rings.
Aragorn?
Aragorn is, but like actually like a ranger, a survivalist, this like sort of one-man warrior.
I mean, that's kind of what he was. He was a ranger in the North.
Ranger's Apprentice is this boy getting into and becoming a ranger, and it's a whole wing of that. I don't know if it's a monarchy, but like there's rival lands, and it's like there is a garrison, there is an army, there are knights, but you need people who are going to go and scout that, who can just be scouts or rogues, trained in like tracking and hunting and all that. And I was just like, this is what a ranger should be. And it's a cool little journey, and it's back in middle school. I literally can't remember how it ends, but
now you can read it again and appreciate it.
They're once they do cross, I think it's like the 4th or 5th book, they go to scout the enemy lands across the sea. It's very like Vikings attacking the English, sort of. That has a whole entire like storm element to it, where it's like, oh, it's calm waters and stuff, and he's like, we'll be fine, and the captain's just like, that means we're screwed, kid. This is the calm. Tomorrow's the storm. It's a cool little series. It's medieval. It's fantasy. Well, not fantasy. Sorry, no magic. There's no magic. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Crude medieval, I guess. But you still have knights and stuff. And I'd like to see something that is that medieval flavor. just on the screen, any screen. I'd love to get that, and not something that's just so hardcore Game of Thrones. Not something that's ruthless.
Yeah, I can see where we need.
Aside from
a bit
Lord of the
variety.
Rings, you have Game of Thrones and the prequel series Game of House of the Dragon. What other medieval stuff have we had? And there was Sir Gawain's Tale, but that's very Arthurian legend.
There's also
Which you got to be a fan of that. Or
Wheel of Time also.
Oh, okay.
Now I haven't watched it. I also haven't read the Wheel of Time books because there's like 15 of them.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, there's that option too. But that would be cool. It sounds interesting.
Yeah. Well, we've been through one each, and we have a list of 5 each, and we're like, we gotta speed up a little bit.
Yeah. So
Go.
I'll be quick with this next one. So I'm gonna keep with the historical, the bits. I would love to see like a series on Teddy Roosevelt. So they did a series on John Adams. HBO did a series on John Adams. Teddy Roosevelt, I don't understand why no one's done it yet. I mean, he's honestly like the most interesting person who's ever lived.
Drunk History had an episode on him, and that thing was just awesome.
Oh my God.
And you're just like, this guy's insane. This is awesome.
So pretty much, when he was a kid, he was asthmatic, and the doctor said, it's like, son, you're going to have a really tough life health-wise with this. You ought to just find a nice, cozy office job. And he pretty much was just
did not
like...
do that at all.
Yeah, he was just like, you know what? No, I want to prove myself. I want to push myself to the limit. The man pretty much had every job you could possibly have. He willingly chose to go out west and be a cowboy after I think his first wife got sick and died. And I think maybe one of his kids died also. And he's just like, you know what? I'm sad.
Tough times. I'm
going to be a cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a mayor. He was a police constable. He did all the big game hunting in Africa.
He went into World War II with
way before World War II. No, it was a war with Cuba in the 1800s.
Okay, yep. Takes a mounted division, went and got all his cowboy friends, went down, got to the boat, they said, we don't got room for the horses. So a cavalry unit with no horses goes into... And you're like, and then he becomes president after that.
Yeah, and he expedited the Panama Canal.
National parks.
National parks. There was the Sherman Antitrust Act, which broke up monopolies and made it illegal for companies
Forget one
to
movie. This could
monopolize.
be 3 or 4.
That's why I'm saying it would be a great
dang.
series. And then even like after he becomes president, so he willingly stepped down and decided not to run again.
Yep.
And then Taft became president. He endorsed Taft. And then he didn't like what Taft was doing and said, you know what, I'm going to start my own political party, the Bull Moose Party, and I'm going to run against Taft. While he was giving a speech, he got shot in the chest. He got shot in the chest. He looks down at it, decides, yeah, he realized, he's just like, oh, okay, this is non-lethal. And the people, I mean, like his security and doctors are just like, okay, well, let's get you to a hospital and remove the bullet. He's like, let me finish my speech.
We got a few more pages, man.
He delivers like an hour-long speech with a bullet in his chest, and when it happens, when he's done, he's just like, he looks over to his people and he goes, now you may take me to the hospital. It's like, what a freaking badass. He was boxing someone because he did all these extreme sports. He got his eyeball punched out of his socket, and he put it back in. When he finally died, he got sick and he died. And he died in his sleep. And I forget if it was a friend or a family member said
it was a colleague.
Death could only take him in his sleep.
Otherwise, it would have been a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, make it.
Okay. A series I'd like to see get a remake or adaptation. And this is sort of happening in 2 different ways. Right now, we've gotten a whole big re-release on Steam for this game. Metal Gear Solid. This guy right here, Metal Gear Rex. It's Soviet Cold War era. Russians, Americans, intelligence, PMCs around the world. trying to create Metal Gears, a new way of war, and a whole bunch of other just insane subplots. We're getting a remake of the third game, which was a prequel here, I think this year. But the director who did Kong Skull Island has been working and writing on a movie for Metal Gear Solid. And I cannot wait. It feels like a timepiece where you'll have just this sort of infiltration and espionage. And so much of it pulls from natural history. But then there'll just be a little nudge, a little drop in your drink of, and you'll just go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like that was a little sci-fi, just a little pushing the tech of the age a little further, and then also a little bit of, was that a ghost? I don't know. So there's just a little bit of mysticism into it, and just legendary mercenaries and iconic characters and music that is just amazing. I would love to see that director just come out with that as like a passion project movie, and I think the fans would eat it up, and he would just blow everything away. Just, oh my God.
I mean, that would be cool. It's supposed to be a big series. Who would be your Snake Plissken?
Oh,
or not Snake Plissken, Solid Snake. Solid Snake. Snake Plissken's Escape from New York.
Someone did like a art drawing or what. This was before AI was like super crazy and all over the internet. Someone did a little entry where it was the actor who plays Poe Dameron,
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac, who also does Moon Knight, which is awesome. With like a bandana and like an eye patch and stuff as a Solid Snake, and I was like, okay, I believe this. This looks good. It's because some people are going to be so like, it has to be so faithful to the game. It's like, no. It doesn't have to be. But, oh my God. I would love to see Metal Gear Solid as a movie. Which the fourth one almost basically is.
Well, and so, I mean, if we're basing things off video games,
yep.
So I'm going to build off that. It'd be nice if we got like an Uncharted movie that actually felt like Uncharted.
Oh my gosh!
The thing with Tom Holland. So I love Tom Holland. Mm-hmm. When it was announced he was playing Nathan Drake, I was just like, "What the hell?"
No.
He's just, come on.
It's too young.
Well, my thing is, everyone for like a decade was talking about how we want Nathan Fillion to play Nathan Drake.
Yeah,
because he looks like him, and he's got the perfect. He's even got the attitude.
Yes, and
there's the fan film,
Cade 6 in Destiny, and it's just this witty character that you love. We're getting him back to voice the character again. The character's coming back in the finale, and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm just in this sound booth here," and like he's like, and then just does like a witty line from it, and you're just like, what? And he's like, I'll see you later, Guardians. And you're like, oh my God, he's back.
It's him.
He's back.
On our honeymoon, Han and I went overseas, and on the flight, one of the movie options was the Uncharted movie, and I was just like, you know what? Maybe I've been a little too judgmental, because I've played all the games. I love them. The Uncharted series is my favorite series. It's modern Indiana Jones. It's what it is.
It really is. It really is. And you could say it's there with like Tomb Raider, where
it's very story and character driven. Like
you love the characters,
all of them,
and their story. Oh my
gosh. All of them. They're just great.
Yep.
And so I was just like, you know what? I'll give it a chance. So I put on the Uncharted movie. I made it 15 minutes in, and then I turned it off. I said, no, it's just bad. It's bad.
Yeah, so if you grabbed Nathan Fillion, and he played General Ross in the Avengers, have that guy come in and play Scully, maybe?
William Hurt?
I believe so.
He's dead. Yeah, because he's being replaced by Harrison Ford. Which I'd take Harrison Ford as Sully. He could do it. It'd be fitting because he was Indiana Jones.
He could.
Yeah.
That would be.
I know. It'd be weird, wouldn't it? They would make it happen.
Yeah. That would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would.
But so that would be a game. That would be something I'd like to be made properly.
the Uncharted series has a similar thing to Metal Gear Solid, where here it is, it's in this genre, it's sticking with the whole treasure hunt theme. There's pirates, there's weird legends about zombies or whatever in the first game. That's made up, and then you get there and go, oh no, they were right. Oh my god. Yeah. Similar with Indiana Jones, where you get just a little whiff of that magic, and you go, humans were not meant for this. We're boned. Don't open your eyes.
Do not challenge the wrath of God.
A series I would like to see an adaptation for, which I believe it's rumored they're working on a live action form of it, is for Gundam. It's from Japan. They've got the models, big space robots. The last big movie mecha thing we've had was Pacific Rim, and the first one really loved, but I don't think it did amazing over here in the States. But I mean, dude, if I can get giant robots, why do you think Mechagodzilla is awesome? Because it's giant monster and giant robot in one. It's amazing.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah, they are working on a live action, and if you remember Ready Player One a couple years ago, they did do a whole scene where it's animated, the robot, the Gundam itself.
Oh, I didn't know that was in that
yeah,
movie.
and it fought Mechagodzilla.
Nice.
But it was like a video game power-up, so it like lasted like a minute, and then it was over. I was like, oh, dude.
I feel like when that came up on screen, you just went and peed a little.
Oh, well, there's a reason there's like 1 million views on like just that cut of the movie alone. And I feel like that might have been like a little test where they were like, yeah, here's the property, go ahead and animate that. And then like they watched it, and they were like, what do y'all think? How does this look? And people were like, it's good. It's not super fast robots, because again, they're like bringing it into live action, so it's not, just instant frames. But it moves fast enough with its boosters and its pilot and stuff. It's like, okay, this looks pretty damn good. And similar with like Metal Gear, it's like just this property that's like, it's doing fine on its own over here. Not really Metal Gear Solid at the moment. But
ups and downs.
Screw you, Konami. I would love to see it jump onto the big screen.
I'm gonna knock out a couple things here real quick, because they're both like, I think they'd be good historical pieces or biopics. So one, I would love to see a John Lennon biopic, but after the Beatles, post Beatles, because in the 70s his life was very in general, John Lennon's life was very interesting. Because he was just a very troubled human being. Yeah. And a lot of that stems to like growing up and the things he was faced with. But I think a good dramatic piece of cinema you could do would be John Lennon's Lost Weekend and then his return. So in the mid-70s, John Lennon stopped making music. Mm-hmm. He ended up, so he and Yoko...
I wasn't there, but I believe you.
Yeah. I know a lot about the Beatles, John Lennon specifically. He's like, the Beatles are my all-time favorite.
That's what you get when you cross history and music right there.
But so, John Lennon and Yoko Ono had split up temporarily. Mm-hmm. And I think that would be a good kind of place to kind of build off of, where you see, because he's like spiraling. He's not doing good. He's getting into different trouble with like the law. He's fighting the U.S. government, the immigration, so he can get his green card, because Richard Nixon did not want him to be a U.S. citizen. Richard Nixon hated John Lennon because he was so involved with the anti-war movement. Nixon smash! Nixon smash! And the delicious taste of Charleston chew. But so it would be interesting to see him at that.
And we could get Robert Downey Jr. in a black and white cutscene for a time skip, but he's playing Nixon. Who is this guy?
Even better. Have him play Yoko Ono.
Oh, wait,
He's got the talent for it. Yeah. But so
I was thinking a whole it's like Oppenheimer.
Yeah. So I think it'd be interesting to see that point of his life, and then so he gets back together with Yoko Ono. They decide they want to try to have a kid. They have Sean Lennon, so that's his second child. And John decides, okay, well, I'm going to focus on my family, and I'm not going to tour. I'm not going to release any albums. I'm going to be a stay-at-home dad.
Okay.
And so I think it'd be interesting to see that shift, and then to where I want to say in late 79, 1980, he decides, okay, well, Sean is 4 years old now. I've got this interest in getting back into the studio and releasing something. And he does Double Fantasy, which is the last album he releases in his lifetime. And that's like the happiest part of his lifetime, is those 4 years. It's not the Beatles, it's not before the Beatles. It's where he's settled down and has stability in his life.
Back. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got this bounce back, and he's really devoted himself to his family, decides to put out this album. He releases it. It's Double Fantasy, which is a fantastic album, and he gets shot and killed. So, by a crazy fan. And I think, honestly, the perfect way to end that movie would be, I don't want to say his name. I know his name, but I don't want to say his name because he did it to absorb fame, and fuck that guy. But I think the best way to end that movie would be John and Yoko walking outside the Dakota and him approaching them. I think that would probably be the most impactful way to end it. Mm-hmm. And maybe just have it cut to black.
Yep.
Because those who know. Yeah. And I just think he's a very interesting person. He's a very important person in popular culture. And I think that period of his life, you get a lot of things that haven't been touched by film. And I think it just make a really, really good movie. And also something else, history-wise,
yep.
I think would make a great movie. So have you ever heard of, so there was this guy named Frank Olson. Now, Frank Olson had ties to the stuff going on with MK Ultra. Now, those of you who don't know about MK Ultra was a CIA project that focused around, they were looking into like mind control.
Mind. Yep.
And one of the things they experimented with was LSD and other mind manipulation drugs.
Yep.
Now, Frank Olson was, I believe he was in the CIA, but he unknowingly was given LSD with some other people to be tested on, and they kept giving it to him, and it was messing with his brain and everything. And pretty much to kind of sum up, so there's a lot of mystery behind it because we don't know the full truth of what happened.
Yeah.
But
go figure.
What's very heavily speculated is that Frank Olson had reservations and moral disagreements with the practices being conducted by the CIA, and was going to reveal what was going on. Mm-hmm. And because he knew too much, it's speculated heavily, very heavily, that the CIA had him killed. So now he was married, had a kid, at least one kid.
Bad guys kill people.
And so what ended up happening pretty much is he was in a hotel room and magically ended up on the pavement. And what happened is he went through a closed glass window, which only would have been possible if he got a running start or was thrown. So
I believe there's probably also a statement from the CIA going, "We didn't do it."
Well, so I think it would be a good political thriller / courtroom drama, because in 1975, I think it was 1975, the CIA said, hey, we didn't tell you this because, whatever. But we did give him LSD.
We were destroying people's brains.
Yeah, we did.
Because we want to figure out how to control them.
We did give him LSD without his consent or knowledge. And then a little bit more time went by, and so the son, so the mother was dead, and they decided, okay, well, we're going to exhume our father and put him with the mother. And he's just like, you know what? Let's have another autopsy done. And they found blunt force trauma on the body that the coroners believed would have been done prior to him actually falling out the window. So there's some conspiracies tied to it. So you get like, it's like the movie JFK. Have you seen that? So I think it'd make a good political thriller. I think it'd be really interesting just to see that story and how it affected different people. And also you just kind of have the spooky things that the government has done and might be doing. So there's an idea.
Yeah, don't trust the government.
Especially the Central Intelligence Agency.
An adaptation I'm looking forward to. I think it might be this year. It might be getting animated again by another studio who wants to do it, like frames or hand-drawn. None of the crazy, cheap animation. And pray to God there isn't just one clang sound effect for a giant sword. Like it was comically overused. Is Berserk. There's another studio saying they're taking it on as a passion project to animate another segment. We don't know if it's the Golden Age or after the collapse. But you know what? I would be happy with anything if they don't do what they did in, I believe, 2017. That studio who they went with some AI programming stuff and like 3D models. And it was like, oh, it'll like auto shade it like the panels. And it's already just, I mean, it's from a Japanese manga. It's very much like Berserk is in black and white, and the 1970s first ever adaptation of it, it's like old animation style, but it's still good. You have, beautiful single frame backdrops. And that does the entire Golden Age arc real well, but it's also 50 years old now. Oh my God. So just like them redoing that would be a fucking treat. But if we got past the Golden Age arc into true fucking despair, oh my God.
Nice.
It'd be great. A man struggling to stay alive in a world that wants him dead, man. Oh.
The man bringing him down.
A lot. Oh, yeah. A lot. It's a downer. Don't get into it if you can not handle some gruesome shit. Except the Golden Age. Golden Age arc is awesome. And that's where it starts.
I'm trying to think the next thing. I would love to see some, I'm just going to kind of group it together, some better Stephen King adaptions. One in particular,
That'd be nice.
if they did like the Dark Tower series. So they tried to do a Dark Tower movie.
Yep.
And but like I think it needs a proper series. There's 8 books. Give each one a season.
Okay.
Yeah, just give each one a season. And then Salem's Lot. So Salem's Lot is one of my favorite Stephen King books. Pretty much the idea stemmed from Stephen King asked his wife, Tabitha King. He was just like, so...
Her name isn't Queen? What?
No.
Keep going. Sorry.
No, because you're married.
I know.
She took his surname. Yep. Sir King. So pretty much he just got this thought one day. It's like, what if Dracula came to like modern day like New York, and she just quipped kind of back. She's like, hey, he'd probably get hit by a car. And then he was just like, well, I wonder if I made that a small town. And so it's a small town called Jerusalem's Lot, a fictional town, Jerusalem's Lot in Maine. And there's a vampire. Mm-hmm. And it's freaking awesome. It's the second book he ever had published. Okay. And it's great. It's just great. So I'd love to see that too. And so apparently they recently made it, but they tabled it and they haven't released it yet. So I don't know if it's been edited or what, but I would love to see it.
In the locker.
Yeah, it's in development hell. So
I would love to see. I'm not a huge fan of horror. I'd love to see some Lovecraft stuff. Ooh. We got At the Mountains of Madness years ago, but he's got several. You could do just some shorts.
Color Out of Space.
Yes, The Shadow Out of Time. You could do a little like 1-episode shows and do a season and do like 8 short stories. But doing the eldritch horror beyond your comprehension is real hard to put to film. Because your imagination has to do a lot of the work for that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a hard medium to bring in, to actualize.
I feel like it could be done with the right director. Mm-hmm. With the right director, it can absolutely be done.
Yeah. But that's what we're hoping gets an adaptation or remake.
What are you hoping for? What do you want made? Is there like
game,
a book, a game that you think that hasn't been made that should be made?
Yep.
Is there a movie that should be redone?
Yeah, or it got a remake and then it was trash. And like Rick Riordan right now with the Percy Jackson series is finally making his show and it's good. It's not this weird like 2 movies they did and it was just like, oh, and we dropped it.
Well, then there's like anything by Michael Crichton besides Jurassic Park has also just sucked. Like Congo was ass, and then Sphere. Sphere is one of my all-time favorite books. The movie does not like abide. I'd love to see that redone properly. Sphere is freaking awesome. If you like Jurassic Park, read Sphere.
That has that same problem with like Eldritch Horror where it's just like, okay, there's this like unseen element to it. Now put it in movie and like hope the audience gets it. And you're sitting there just watching actors look at each other and you're like, this is where like it would silence say, and then I read their thoughts or something, but they aren't doing it. They're just looking at each other, like turning the powers off or so. It's just, it could be done better, but boy, I don't know how they're going to do that.
Got to put in the time and effort.
Yes.
And someone's got to, whoever's making it has to have a respect and just an appreciation, love for the source material.
Give it to the guys who made Godzilla -1. The dudes did all that in under $15 million.
It can be done.
Give it to Disney, blow $500 million on just reshoots, and then make $100 million when it hits theaters. And oh no, how are they still open? How does that work?
As always, though, thank you for tuning in. Comment down below what you want made. Like, subscribe. If you haven't seen our previous episodes, give them a look. See what you think. If you like this, you might like what we've done before.
What are you excited for in 2024? New year.
Yeah, and if there's anything you'd really like us to talk about, we're open to suggestions. Hit it in the comments below. Take it easy. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.